Hello, my friend, and welcome to Wisdom Trek. This is Guthrie Chamberlain, and I'm your guide to wisdom and creating a living legacy. Thank you so much for joining us for our 7-day-a-week, 7 Minutes of Wisdom podcast. This is day 298 of our trek, and yesterday we explored the final trek of the totals of 18 trails on the trek that we called the Principles of Spiritual Growth. It was quite an extensive trek, and a little bit different from the previous treks that we have taken. I trust that you did find this information valuable for your own life, regardless of where you happen to be on your faith trek. Today we will remain in camp and sit around the campfire as we invest some time exploring how to relax and recharge. I struggle with this on a personal level, as there are always more projects to work on than hours in the day. I do realize, though, that proper sleep, rest, and relaxation are an integral part of a healthy lifestyle. I am certainly trying to learn these lessons as we explore them today. We have covered many different types of terrain on our nearly 300 daily hikes, so if you do miss any of the days of our Wisdom Trek, please go to wisdom-trek.com to listen to them and to read the daily journal. We are recording our podcast from our studios in the Big House in Marietta, Ohio, and we're making good progress on both our client workload and the renovations. I have completed the library woodwork and floors, so we'll be able to move the furniture back in this weekend. Paula is going to paint the back wall of the built-in bookshelves in the library before we move all the books back in, though. It has old plaster walls on the back of it, and they certainly can use a good coat of paint. I'll post some of the pictures of the finished product in our journal later this week. Although it is difficult work doing the renovations, I also find it a relaxing time away from constantly being at my standing desk and in front of the computer. It's now time to share around the campfire today as we look at 9 tips to relax and recharge. I learned these tips from one of my virtual mentors, Brian Tracy, whose courses I've taken and have learned much over my business career so far. So here we go, 9 tips to relax and recharge. Most of us realize that regular relaxation is essential for long life and personal effectiveness. So the question is, if we know that, why don't we make it a priority in our lives? And I'm certainly pointing the finger at myself on this one, so let's digest these nuggets and insights together. Here are some techniques for relaxing both physically and mentally that are used by some of the most successful people in our fast-paced society of the Western world. Tip number 1, take time off every week. First of all, work only 5 or 6 days per week and rest completely on the 7th day. Every single study in this area shows that you'll be far more productive in 5 or 6 days that you work if you take 1 or 2 days off completely than you ever would if you work straight through the 7 days. Of course, God is the original designer of this concept, as he declares in Genesis chapter 2, verses 1 through 3. So the creation of the heavens and earth and everything in them was completed. On the 7th day, God finished the work of his creation, so he rested from all his work. And God blessed the 7th day and declared it holy, because it was the day when he rested from all his work of creation. It's a good point to keep in mind. Tip number 2, get your mind busy elsewhere. During this time off, do not catch up on reports, organize your desk, prepare proposals, or anything else that requires mental effort. Simply let your mind relax completely. Get busy doing things with your family and friends. Maybe you could work around the house, go for a walk, engage in physical exercise, watch TV, go to a movie, or play with your children. Whatever you do, discipline yourself to shut your mental gears off completely, at least for the 24-hour period once every 7 days. Tip number 3, get away on mini vacations. As an example, take 1 3-day vacation every 3 months, and during this time, refrain from doing any work. Do not attempt to catch up on a few small things. If you do, you keep your mental gears in motion, and you end up neither resting nor properly doing the work of any quality. Tip number 4, take big chunks of downtime. Take at least 2 full weeks off every year during which you do nothing that's work-related. You can either work or relax, but you cannot do both. If you attempt to do a little work while you're on vacation, you never give your mental or emotional batteries a chance to recharge. You'll come back from vacations just as tired as when you left. Tip number 5, give yourself a break today. If you are involved with a difficult client relationship or in a situation that is emotionally draining, discipline yourself to completely take a break from it at least once per week. Put the concern out of your mind. Refuse to think about it. Don't continually discuss it, make telephone calls about it, or mull it over in your mind. You cannot perform your best mentally if you are emotionally preoccupied with a person or situation, so give yourself a break today. Tip number 6, go for a walk in nature. Since change is as good as rest, going for a nice long walk is a wonderful way to relax emotionally and mentally. As you put your physical body in motion, your thoughts and feelings seem to relax all by themselves. Tip number 7, eat lighter foods. Remember that the process of digestion consumes an enormous amount of physical energy. Therefore, if you eat lighter foods, you will feel better and more refreshed afterwards. If you eat more fruits, vegetables, and whole grain products, your digestive system will require far less energy to process them. Tip number 8. Be good to yourself. Since your diet has such an impact on your level of physical energy, and through that your levels of mental and emotional energy, the more choosy you are about what you put into your mouth, the better that you'll feel and the more productive that you'll be. We know that highly processed foods, carbs, and sugars are not good for our bodies. The lighter foods you eat, the more energy that you'll have. And tip number 9 is 3 action exercises. Here are 3 things that you can do immediately to put your ideas into action. First, plan your weeks in advance and build in at least one day when you will relax from work completely. Discipline yourself to keep this date. Second, reserve, book, and pay for a 3-day vacation several months in advance. Once you've paid the money, you'll be much more likely to go rather than putting it off. And third, decide that you will not work during your vacations. When you work, work. When you rest, rest 100% of the time. This is very important. It is nearly impossible to do both at the same time. I do trust that you see the value and enjoyed exploring these powerful and yet simple to implement tips that will help you and me to relax and recharge completely. I plan on putting these in practice. What about you? So think about this for a while. And tomorrow we will hike on an interesting trail to discover the difference between legacy and inheritance. So encourage your family and friends to join us, and then come along with us tomorrow for another day of Wisdom Trek, Creating a Legacy. That will finish our podcast for today. Just as you enjoy these daily doses of wisdom yourself, we ask you to help us to grow Wisdom Trek by sharing them with your family and friends through email, Facebook, Twitter, or in person when you meet with them, and invite them to come along with us each day. The journal for today's trek can be found at wisdom-trek.com. Thank you so much for allowing me to be your guide, your mentor, but most importantly, you are my friend, as I serve you through the Wisdom Trek podcast and journal each day. As we take this trek together, let us always live abundantly, love unconditionally, listen intentionally, learn continuously, lend to others generously, lead with integrity, and leave a living legacy each day. This is Guthrie Chamberlain reminding you to keep moving forward, enjoy your journey, and then create a great day every day. See you tomorrow.